Alright.
Oh shit. What'd you get?
It was,
Huh?
I don't know, it just bent.
Yeah, but I heard something crack.
No, it was just a bent over here. Anyway, we're at Nakatuak Point. I thought I'd be able to say it. Anyway, we're at this point where,
Nobody will know the difference.
well, somebody will.
Nakatuak. I think it's Nakathree-ack.
Anyways, point, we're at, we had about 22 and a half miles today. Start off in really rough conditions, 18 mile an hour headwinds and chop, and it was a rough entry. We had to do a seal entry, fully skirted and everything, and slide into the water just because the waves were rough, and we entered with some icebergs around us, some small ones, but that wasn't any big deal. But then we went along this rocky coast on the east side of, no, on the west side of Navy Board Inlet, and that's the part that belongs to the park. We kind of noticed that the rougher, rockier parts, that's what the Inuit ceded over to the Parks Canada, and they kept the parts where you can land and actually get out and do things on. The exciting parts, we passed some glaciers, 3 glaciers, one of which was actually all the way down to the water, and the ice was hundreds, excuse me, we're tired, hundreds of feet tall and blue and white and beautiful. Unfortunately, by then, we were in dense fog and couldn't see more than 50 yards, so it wouldn't have been good for video or photography. We stayed in fog most of the day after that. Started out sunny and windy, and the middle of the day was several hours of fog and cold. The water calmed down a little bit, and then the sun came out again towards the end of the day, the last few miles, so that was nice. And it's really pretty looking across Navy Board Inlet to Bylot Island, and we see a lot of glaciers over there. It's actually gorgeous. We heard an explosion, so we didn't know if that was a calving glacier or what was going on with that. But now we're in a cabin. A bunch of little cabins here. They're just hunting shacks, really. That wouldn't call them, like a cabin in the woods. They're kind of rustic, but man, to us, they're the Ritz-Carlton, so we're pretty happy. But, tired. It's Sheila's birthday too, so Jeff called Sheila. It was nice.
Cell phone gave us a good 10 minutes, I think, before it went bonky. And that glacier that we saw that came all the way to the water is the first one that we've seen. We've seen it, wasn't the largest. We've seen a lot of really big glaciers, but most of them are 100 yards, 200 yards back from the water where they stop. So, but they all have glacial outflows where they're melting, so it's been real good sources of our drinking water.
Yeah, which we really need. We spent some time on the phone with Barbara and looking at the maps, and we'll probably hit the end of Navy Board Inlet tomorrow, and then we're going to make our way across the tip of Borden Peninsula, and then we're going to cross Admiralty Inlet, and that's a 25-mile crossing. If we get about 10 miles below Point Joy or Cape Joy. The problem is it's the end of the day on Monday right now, and we need to make that crossing on Wednesday, which really only gives us, a day to get there, which is...
That'll be double the mileage we've had so far. But, our mileages vary from headwind, 2 mile an hour, to no headwind, we can get 4 miles an hour, 4.5. So, wind's going to dictate how long it takes us to get to that launch point. And from the looks of things, we may hit somewhere in between and get a 3 mile an hour day tomorrow. We'll see how things go.
Well, and if we don't get to, we've got to get a few miles south of Cape Joy. I think she said it's about 10 miles south to make the shortest crossing across Admiralty Inlet. The calmest weather. If we don't make it we've got calm conditions from 2 a.m. Wednesday to 11 p.m. Wednesday, so all day to make that 25-mile crossing, which would probably take us.
But we still have to be set up for Wednesday morning.
Right.
So that gives us only tomorrow to get there.
Yeah,
that's the issue.
That's going to be almost impossible. Problem then therein lies on Thursday we get 28 mile an hour winds through there, and that's a no-go.
Of course, it's headwinds.
Yeah.
No matter what you're doing, because it's just like being on a river.
Yeah.
You know.
So we may end up just getting there and having to camp out a few days to wait out that 25-mile crossing, but that's
Nothing you can do about that. Because, at 1 mile an hour, that would take us 25 hours to get across.
yeah, if then, or we just might get pushed back. But 20.
Or at a half mile an hour, that'd be 50 hour. That'd be a 50-hour crossing.
Yeah, piece of cake. So that's kind of what we're looking at with our first major crossing. We've got 2 major crossings. The first one's the 25-mile Admiralty Inlet, and then after Broad Europe Peninsula, we go down about 50 miles into Prince Regent Sound, and then we have to cross Prince Regent Sound, and that's a 40-mile crossing. So this the Admiralty Inlet will be a test run, training run for the other one. But once again, we got to wait for just the right conditions, because that'll be a 12 to 15 hour crossing when we do.
It's the crux. It's the crux move of this whole journey.
Right.
That specific crossing.
So
we've known about it for a while. I am glad that they're coming along as like a little 8-miler, 25-miler, and then the 40-miler.
Right.
Rather than being other way around.
Yeah, we've got we've spent that much time in boats without getting out. It's and rivers. We'll do the
Normal procedure. We'll raft up every 4 hours and get us some calories in. Drink, pee. Peeing's an issue when you got all this gear on.
right. Peeing's a big issue.
I guess we said that in another tent talk, but it's
really,
an issue.
It really means something. It's really hard to do.
In the rough weather today, we tried to raft up and just lean against a bank full of rocks, and it was so unsuccessful. We decided
to just get out.
Why don't we just step out?
Yeah.
And the problem is just with this kind of weather, though, is that you pop your spray skirt off, and now you're prone to that water getting in there. You know, so
we'll have to deal.
Easy thing about it.
We'll have to deal with that in those big crossings, and hopefully, once again, hopefully there'll be flat conditions. And the 8-miler crossing was flat condition, and so of course, right after that it wasn't. But we're gonna have to just get a really accurate forecast. We're gonna have all hands on deck for our forecasts for those, and obviously pull Titus in and everybody else, and Robert Ewan's team, and make sure that we've we're as sure as we can be. But for now, we got to make our way north on Navy Board Inlet and finish this, and we'll get a start tomorrow. Since we don't have to put the tent up, hopefully it'll be on the water a little bit sooner than normal. Since we're in the
that's the big upside of these cabins is no set up and tear down of the tent, and B, they're probably more bear proof than our north face.
A little bit more bear proof. So that'll be nice.
And our nylon. It's pretty tough nylon though.
It is tough.
No complaints.
All right, I guess we're signing off. Good night. Today's the 8th or 9th?
Monday the 8th.
Monday the 8th, August 8th, 2022.